Alright guys, so it's Mark here, the Pitsmore House. So I've come across the Steel City of Sheffield to do a story today, a very horrific story this one is, very horrific. So I'm doing a story about probably one of the worst crimes you'll ever see in Britain, probably in the world. Yeah, this was a Cockney, a Londoner, nice girl, really outgoing, close-knit family. So her name was Terry Harris. She lived in this house with her son, John Paul, 12-year-old, and also a daughter, Cody. Cody's friend was also here this night. So she's actually stayed here for a night before. But her name's Lacey, she's 12-year-old. So they've actually stayed there. So let me give some backdrop to the story. So Terry's met this Damien Benal. She's actually met him online. Yeah. I'm not so sure that's a good place to meet somebody. But she's actually met him online. Yeah. So they started dating. I think they were smitten at first with each other. This be around 2020. So I might get odd things wrong here because I'm doing it off the cuff, but it's basically there or thereabouts. So then, like at first they were smitten, but then her family, Terry's family, started to get like bad vibes about him because he was saying things like, "Oh, when me dog, what I have, adds vet bills, I just hit it head with a brick." That's obviously concerning, that, isn't it? Very concerning. Do you know what I mean? So that is very concerning. So then she started to have doubts about him herself. She started to have doubts about him. I think that she knew that he's been done for a knife point robbery, and she knew that he's took cocaine. But she's probably just with him thinking, "Oh, I can change him." Like many people do think that, don't they? What's so sort of horrific to think? A few months before, he got done for an arson, and he only got 17 months suspended sentence. So should he have really been out? Is my question. I think that's a definite no. To be honest, I mean, if he'd have been locked up, he couldn't have done it, could he? You know. So, like I say, they started dating with each other, and then she found out that she was pregnant. So then they've become smitten with each other, obsessed with each other, and they actually lived here on this house here. What was a 2-bedroom house? So she's basically moved him in pretty much straight away, and I think that's a lesson for every woman going. I know it's all right being wise after an event, but to not move and not put a man around your children when you just met them, basically. And I think that happens a lot. Especially when the woman's not very good about being on her own. It's all about her needs, and the children's needs seem to like go out that window. Do you know what I mean? So like, she basically moved him in, basically straight away. We've seen this plenty of times, but some people, they don't have the consequences like what she did, and her consequences was horrific. So yeah, so like I say, one of the worst crimes happened here in living memory. Proper shocking crime. So I've come from Pitsmore across to Steel City to report on it. It's on the outskirts of Sheffield. I actually sick when I found out that something like this happened in my own city of Sheffield. I mean, a crime like this it's just off the scale, innit? You know what I mean? We have stabbing, shootings like any other big city does, but this was horrific. Listen, I didn't used to believe in monsters. Yeah, I thought monsters was something out of a movie or a book, but this story told me that monsters are real. Do you know what I mean? Because what he did was actions of a monster, basically. So like I say, Terry's mum had concerns about it straight away, because I mean, when you make a comment like that about a dog, sort of like, I mean, usually if you like dogs and you like animals, you're usually a good person, aren't you? Because you're caring, and basically, yeah, animals only have a good life if we're going to give them it. because they're dependent on humans, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? But when you start making comments like, oh, I can't afford vet bills, so I'm just going to smash the dog or head with a brick. Ain't that alarm bells when your daughter's got kids to him? Do you know what I mean? And but like I say, I know it's all right being wise after the event, innit? But what he went on to do in this house is absolutely horrific. Horrific. So let's get on to actual night. Let's get on to night. So we're in. So they basically met April 2020. She gets pregnant. I think she's dating him for about 5 months. Yeah, but she basically moves him in basically straight away, unfortunately. Yeah, and then on this particular night, he decides to take cocaine. Yeah, he gets a taxi to Sheffield, goes to his drug dealer. He actually pinches John Paul, who's 12-year-old. I mean, this is a scum act, isn't it? He actually pinches John Paul's, not PlayStation, Xbox. He pinches his Xbox and pawns it, yeah, and goes and sells it for drugs. Yeah, I mean, what a fucking sick move that is. What a sick move that is, yeah? Right. During this time, Terry's family's noticed that she's become very, very, like, you know, quiet. She's not wearing clothes that she used to do. She becomes very quiet, very, very withdrawn. Do you know what I mean? So the guys just obviously just bullying her. And listen, I think I'd rather be on my own. Do you know what I mean? But the night in question is, yeah, so he sells the PlayStation, the Xbox for drugs. But obviously, before he's done that, they reckon that about 7 o'clock in the afternoon, in the evening, he's actually smashed Terry, who were pregnant at the time, about 4 or 5 months pregnant. He's actually smashed her head with a lump hammer, and then just gone berserk, smashed her son of her head with a lump hammer, John Paul, who was only 12-year-old. I mean, what sort of fucking monster is this? What sort of monster? And then, basically, her other daughter, Cody, she don't bang same thing to her, smashed them all in with a lump hammer. But this just for me takes it to the next level. Yeah, her friend who's having a sleepover, Lacey, she's already stayed for one night because they were enjoying each other that much. Yeah, and they were enjoying each other's company, and they were raising money selling sweets for charity. She's actually stayed a second night, and that second night's become a terrible choice on it because it's took her life. So he's actually smashed her head in with a lump hammer, and then while she's laid on the floor dying, he's decided that he's going to rape her. I mean, what has a 12-year-old little girl got? But he decides that he's going to rape her. Do you know also I'm getting shivers just study actually telling this story. That is just horrific, horrific. And I'm going to be honest with you, I had doubts about telling this story. I'm checking it as I'm telling it, knowing that it happened a few feet away from where I'm stood. An act of utter evilness. The man's just a straight demon. And I'm just so devastated it happened in my own city of Sheffield, on the outskirts, here in Killamarsh. But that to me is just horrific, horrific. And then when the police come, he's got a cool dishonor with a Chelsea top on, making out he's a Chelsea fan. And like, oh, I've killed 4 people. And then the poor policeman has to go inside the house. Oh, sorry, I missed a bit out. He's got stab wounds on him. He's probably done it for attention. You know, like he's like lost his mind. He's got stab wounds on his chest where he's self-inflicted a few hundreds. And then the poor policeman has to go in and there's actually a bit of video on it where he goes in and then he comes back out and you can see his demeanour with a shock after what he's just witnessed in the house, that he's basically seen Terry Harris, 32-year-old with a head smashed in with a claw hammer. Her son John Paul, 12-year-old, head smashed in with a claw hammer. her other daughter. Connor, 10-year-old, smashed him with a claw hammer. And then her friend, who stayed for a sleepover, Lacey, 10-year-old, smashed him with a claw hammer. Sorry guys, smashed him with a claw hammer. And while she was dying, the monster, the demon, raped the 12-year-old while she was dying. I mean, what does a 12-year-old have? And his girlfriend, Terry Harris, was actually pregnant herself. He's actually killed her with his daughter or a son inside her. That is just horrific. I mean, it's sometimes what makes you question humanity, doesn't it? It makes you question humanity. Do you know what I mean? It makes you question humanity. So it's been very, very hard to do this. Very hard. I think it's one of the worst crimes ever in this country. And it's just absolutely horrific. So listen, it's been hard and all because these council workers around doing work to this house. And I've had to tell, they've heard me telling the story, but listen, I've come a long way to tell it because I think you need a telling. And I think it's a warning, yeah. I want to make a warning to women who are on their own and who are lonely, because there's nothing worse than being lonely. I understand that, yeah. But wouldn't you rather be alone than to put a monster like that around your children? And too many women, young women as well, yeah, are too fast to introduce a stranger after a day, a few hours, a few minutes, whatever. They're too fast to put a man who they don't know the background, around the children. And let this story be a warning. Do not put a man around your children straight away, like a lot of them do. That's just horrific. Absolutely horrific. And my heart goes out to these poor children. Poor children. Connor, Lacey, John Paul, Terry, and an unborn child. And that monster, Damien Benal. Damien Benal. I think that's the first time I might have mentioned his name in the video. Damien Benal. If I were in charge of this country, you do something like that, I think you need to be executed. I really do. Not straight away. I think you should be punished for about 20 years, me. And then after we paid for him for 20 years, I think he should be executed. I don't see point in having these people rotting in prison for years and years and years on end. And then some can have TVs, they can get enhanced. Well, they've all got TVs, they can get enhanced. Do you know what I mean? They can have PlayStations. They don't have no bills. They can live comfortably. Yeah, they've lost their freedom, granted, but they can live comfortably, you know? And I think when someone does something as horrific as that, I think they deserve to die. 20 years punishment in tough conditions, and then lethal injection. That's what I'd do. I'd do it instantly. If you were a woman in them circumstances, or you were any children in them circumstances, I think that you should have a 20-year punishment sentence, and then you should be executed. I mean, so he's sat now in a maximum security prison for the rest of his life. He's got a whole life tariff, meaning that he's never ever going to get out, ever, period. Yeah? What a dad. So Terry, two of her kids, her unborn kid, and the little girl having the sleepover. So that's 5 lives he's destroyed. He's took 5 lives, 4 in an unborn child, but he's still breathing in a prison. That to me is crazy. I think this country's got certain things wrong. So you can go into a primary school, I know this sounds horrible, yeah, and you could kill 200, 300 people and do whatever you wanted to them in this country, yeah, and this country, this government, this law cannot kill you. You'll still breathe and you'll still have a TV. That is wrong, innit? That is wrong. I'm sorry, but things like that just boil my. Do you know what I mean? It's really, really wrong. But listen, I had second thoughts about doing this story, and I've struggled doing it, to be honest, and it's been tough to say it when I've been here. I ain't got anything written down. I've done it off the top of my head, so I'm sorry if it weren't great. But yeah, I just want to like I'm just gonna do like 15 seconds of silence now, just thinking about these angels. And, yeah, so let's just have 15 seconds of silence. Let's talk that God up in heaven, because let's be honest, I'm not a Bible basher, but everyone has their own God, don't they? But usually people, when they're in trouble or when they're in a time of need, that's when they want to start asking for God. It's like at Christmas. We all celebrate Christmas, but only people actually go to church. Do you know what I mean? But I think most people do have their own God, don't they, in their own mind. I pray. I don't pray as much as what I used to when my mum was alive, but I do pray. Not every night, yeah. Maybe a few times a month. So the point I'm trying to make is we've all got our own God, haven't we? We've all got our own God. Do you know what I mean? But let's just hope that if there is a life after death, that these poor children and Terry, Harris, John Paul, Lacey and Cody, let's hope that they all go to heaven, and let's hope that God really, really looks after them, because they deserve it, because their last moments on this earth was of that monster, of that demon, and let's hope that he rots in prison, and let's hope that anything bad happens to him, what can do. And listen, my heart goes out to Terry's mum and dad, and all Terry's family, and everybody else, and listen, may God make them strong, but this one was very, very difficult to tell, and I hope I get it justice. Like I said, the house has been removed now in Killamarsh. Apparently, it was a two-bedroom terrace, so it was like that. And they've had workmen in there, as you can see. So yeah, just been really, really difficult telling it, to be honest, and I've told it off at cuff. But yeah, one of the worst crimes, I think, in British history. And I'm absolutely devastated it happened in my own city of Sheffield, on the outskirts of Killamarsh. I thought about doing it for a while, but yeah, because I covered murders and unsolved murders, but this one really, really hurt, because I love children, and I'm a people's person. I think anyone to do that, you can't blame cocaine like he tried to. He tried to say, oh, I blanked out, I had an out-of-body experience, he said. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He just wanted to fucking go and pawn that computer. And he wanted to get rid of them first. He's just not wired up right. So, you know what I mean? No amount of cocaine or drugs makes you do that. Yeah. That's just a straight wrong. And that was horrific. So, but listen, I'm going to end it now, guys. I'm going to end it now. So, yeah, but I know I've said this a few times in this video, but let's just make sure that it's a lesson for women. And listen, not only women, also people, yeah. Men, do not put people around your children, yeah, or you don't know. Do not do it. Only put people around your children who you know and who you've trusted for years and years at a time, because sometimes the consequences can be horrific, and the consequences was horrific here. So God bless, and thanks for coming. Take care. From Mark, you Pitsmore Owl. God bless.